So half an hour, we good, okay?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Hey.
Really, technology is not being kind to us today.
Yes, yes.
Yay.
Echo, echo, echo. What is echoing in your life? What is empowering you? So we come here today live and direct with my beautiful
Shines.
partner,
Co-host
co-host,
Kimberly, otherwise known as that Black Crypto Chick.
and I'm Rashona Bennett, RB Rising, and we have amazing hosts today. When life brings you lemons, you make lemonades. Our guest today, Daz, there was an emergency, and let me tell you, she's a powerful serial entrepreneur
Mhm.
that is a Renaissance woman. But we will have her next week. But until then, we are happy because in our community, we are filled with a flow of amazing, powerful women. And so today we're bringing back Alexandra, but this time it's going to be a little deeper
Mhm.
because she's going to bring you
Mhm.
her story that has echoed in her life, that has brought her to success. And so we want to announce our beautiful, beautiful guest today, Alexandra Facade, and just the power of her story from Haiti
Mhm.
into the American dream
Mhm.
is out of this world. You have a choice in life on what you want to echo. It can either be something empowering, it could be elevating, or it can be low vibrational. It could be full of anger and it could be filled of doubts. But you have the choice to take what you were given and to turn it up into something beautiful. So we hope that this story resonates with you and empowers you depending on wherever you are in your life because you have the power to make the decision. Welcome, Alexandra Facade. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I love the chimes. Thank you so much for
Nation.
inviting me back. I appreciate it.
We always love having you. So, one of the things that we generally ask people, because I don't think we got to touch this when you were here, is, what was like the foundation surrounding money in your household? Like, because sometimes I know growing up for me, my parents discussed money and finances and things around the dinner table. So, and then my mother had sold real estate as well on the side. So we were always kind of having those monetary conversations, from saving, investing, and so forth and so on. Of course, I've learned a lot more since, my early days. But what was your foundation like? And I'm also thinking culturally, because in Haiti, because in different cultures, money is either revered or feared or whatever the case may be. So can you take us through that?
Sure. So, my case is a little unique in the sense that my parents were both in politics in Haiti. My parents were exiled politically. So,
Mm.
we went literally from feast to famine. And so that was an interesting thing. My mother, for example, when she was Secretary of State in Haiti, and shout out to my mom because she was doing it in the early 60s to the late 70s
Mm.
when women weren't doing that. She was
Mhm,
Secretary of State in Haiti,
mhm,
and my parents were in Europe. And they got a call from the president saying, "Don't come back. There's a hit on your head, and we want to
Mm.
protect you." So literally, they left with what they had, or they never went back, but they were able to get me and my nanny, which is a hilarious story, to the United States, and then
mhm,
the rest of our family came. We obviously had money for a time, but that wore out. What was interesting though is I never felt it. Like whatever it is I desired, whatever it is that my siblings desired, we got.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a struggle behind the scenes that I had no idea was going on.
Mm-hmm,
Mm.
mm-hmm. They tried to maintain the status quo, as so many families do
Do.
that, and they don't let the children know that, okay, we're struggling to make this, to do this for you, and you need to give us some grace. A lot of parents. I even remember when I was a freshman in college, and my mother, she worked for the telephone company, and they had gone on strike, and that strike was going so long, and I went to my mother. I said, "Are you going to be able to pay my tuition?" She said, "Don't you worry about it. Don't you worry about it." And I was like, ah. And then the bursar's like, "Okay, Kim, your tuition's not paid." I'm like, this is all crazy. You know what I mean?
And
But good.
the
Mm-hmm.
things that parents do that you don't
Yeah.
know behind the scenes. For you,
Mm-hmm.
I remember my mom, rest in power
Mm-hmm.
in heaven,
Mine
Mary
too.
Jane Bennett. My mom's a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and she made sure that when she left the projects, Fort Greene, that she wasn't going to have her child in the projects.
Mm-hmm.
So she made sure she found a stable home, which was a co-op that she owned. But even during those times, I remember her telling me that I asked her, "Mom, are you not going to eat?" And she was like, "I am shown." It must have been like maybe like early in the morning, because she said she only had enough, and I didn't realize it, to feed me. And I'm talking about eggs and rice and frankfurters.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
noticed that she wasn't eating,
Mm-hmm.
and so you don't realize until they tell you the stories, if your parents are open to share those
Mm-hmm.
experiences that
Mm-hmm.
they perhaps wanted to shield you from
Mm-hmm.
when
Right.
you were going through that. And I'm glad that she did, because as a single mom now, it makes you want to work that much harder to provide for your children so that they can extend the legacy to the next
Mm-hmm.
level. So when did
Mm-hmm.
you realize that things shifted for you?
Well, I have to say, my mother gave me many, many, many wonderful lessons. And the one thing that she did give me was resilience. And she taught me
Mm.
very early on to always work for myself.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I don't care if you marry the wealthiest being in the world, but make sure you have your own bank account, your own basically autonomy. And
Mm-hmm.
that
Yes.
served me, right? I remember back in the day when we had house phones, I worked and I was cleaning people's homes, which was kind of unheard of, but it was a funny story how I started doing that. And I did it on the weekends, and it gave
Mm-hmm.
me great money.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my own line in my room growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So, there is a lot of power in knowing that you can always find something to do to help yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, and so just taking that in with your mom, pouring into you the basic necessities, the foundations, right, of pretty much investing, saving, budgeting, allocating your funds. I want to take that and bring that into personal development, right? Because
Mhm.
that is the next level, right? And so, what sparked your interest in personal development? I mean, me knowing you, you have always been a pioneer woman who was always like, "What's next?" As I watch you grow as a woman, as a sister, and I'm like, how do you do it?
Well, I think first of all, for me, it's spiritual, right? I
Mm.
believe that I was put on this earth, and the longer I'm here, it becomes more evident to expand spiritually. And there are many ways to do that. And one of the ways to do that is to have financial autonomy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I tune into spirit and say, what's next for me? And there's always
Mm.
an evolution of what's next, right?
Mm.
So I think that through my art, through my creativity, through my spiritual growth, through my financial growth, I am of service in many ways to the world. And to me, it's very natural, it's a natural progression to go into finances and focus on that, right? Because it feeds your art, it feeds your spirit, right? And also, you're able to spiritually feed and also assist people in expanding themselves so they can feed themselves spiritually and physically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for those who haven't watched you before, I say that you're a Renaissance woman because you have a lot of titles, right? Your resume is full with abundance. If you don't mind just sharing your melting pot. of
Well,
what you've done and what you accomplish?
sure. I went to school for the high school of performing arts. So I, by trade and profession, I am an actor, a musical theater actor. I was on Broadway with Les Miserables. I also won an NAACP award with Guys and Dolls, and we were nominated for Grammy. And also Helen Hayes nominations in DC for Play On and Guys and Dolls. I'm an award-winning filmmaker. I created a series called Park Slope Moms.
I
Now it's
remember
called
that.
The Momfia, and did a proof of concept to pitch it. And we were nominated and we won Best Short Film. So for NIWIFT. So I do many things. In addition to that, throughout my life, people always, always, always sit down and want to talk to me. And I mean, like for 3 or 4 hours. And I just tap into spirit and I empower them to find what answers they need from within, right? And
Mm.
so I thought, you know what? Why don't I do this also and monetize it? Because the amount of time that I have invested in people, and it's always a gift for me to be able to assist people. I really wanted to do that on a grander scale. And what better way than to offer life coaching? So I've done
Mhm.
that. I have a production company called the I Am Collective, and we produce content, theater, film, television for the voices that are seldom heard. And currently, I'm collaborating with a man from Georgia who wrote this extraordinary book called The Gift. I'm sorry, The Storm. And
Mhm.
it was a gift to me when I
That's what I was
found the
thinking.
book. That was a Freudian slip. And I've optioned the book to turn it into a television series. So that's what I'm
Mm.
working on now.
Mhm.
And I am also working on a comedy feature about cryptocurrency.
Awesome. That sounds exciting.
Listen, you
Oh
got me smiling from ear to ear. You know, when they say the American dream, I think when I not even I think I know when I listen to you, you have to create it.
God.
Yes.
And as a creator, you are
Yes.
creating that.
Mhm.
And I
Yes.
feel that many people are stuck in that part of how,
Mhm.
what do I do next? Um, how do I rebrand myself? And
Mm.
I feel like you are doing that. You've done that and you are doing that. And if you can just share, because you're a woman of wisdom, right? And I think that as we get older, we are scared of the change of what's next, especially with the evolution of technology and AI. But you just find a way to just reinvent yourself and just go head on. And to me, that's inspiring. And so you didn't share, but I've even watched you tap into AI to the next level that most people of our age group wouldn't even do it.
100%. Well, I believe that we're constantly evolving, right? If we're not evolving, then we're dying. We
Mm,
our the cells in our bodies are constantly changing, right? I think we lose something like 30,000 cells every day. And I think that if we just allow ourselves to open up to what is around us, to our spirit, to what nature is telling us,
mm,
we must evolve,
Mhm.
right? So to me, it is about evolution. And I think all people need to think outside of the box. In fact, take the frickin' box and just hurl it at whoever or whatever has told you that you are to fit in this category. You're supposed to look like this. You're supposed to have achieved this at this age. You're supposed to not do this at a certain age, because
mhm,
all of that
mhm,
is people's own fears that they're projecting
Mhm.
upon you, right?
Mhm.
So the thing is too that there are voices in our heads all the time, and they're not always our voices,
Mhm. Mhm.
mm,
Mhm.
right?
mhm,
They're not our voices. We have consumed our subconscious mind, right? Up until the age of 7, we are in theta state, which means that there are downloads. Our subconscious mind is just taking on the downloads, taking them on. Whatever we've heard, whatever programming we're watching is programming who we are. Right? So the idea is to, when you're aware of that, reframe your thinking. And the only way you can do that is actually create new neuron patches. Right? So there's a way to easily do that where you can open up yourself to your inner spirit and also to the world around you. And then once you've done that, energetically, you now connect to the people you need to connect to. The same way that I connected with you, BK Crypto, all of these amazing beings that are now in my life, I had to get into spirit. I meditate a lot, and I also intend a lot, meaning focus and say specifically what I desire, feel it, and go. And I just remember one day I was saying, I really would love to have passive income. And I walked into a store, I think I've said this before, and the person there was purely working at this store to buy his crypto. And he and he leaned over to me and said, "Get some ETH." Well, I knew what I had heard about Ethereum, right? And I just remembered walking out of that store and saying, "Thank you." So, I think also part of what we don't understand is gratitude changes vibrations. Like, yes, there's a lot going on, and there's the devaluation of the dollar. There's war in my country right now. The U.S. government has sent Kenyan military, right, to basically take over our country. It doesn't matter how you sugarcoat it. That's exactly what is happening right now. But I choose to focus on what I know my country to be, right? I choose to focus on the fact that we were the first independent country in the Western Hemisphere, the first Black independent country in the Western Hemisphere, and that we were able to help free the slaves here in the United States. We were able to help people in El Salvador and Colombia and even Greece, right, get their freedom. And that's what I hold on to, and I'm grateful for that. And I know that it seems like, oh, well, this is just wishful thinking or name it, claim it. No, there is an actual vibration that you emit that changes
That part.
And
That part.
And that's quantum physics.
That part.
So when I was introduced to quantum physics, I became so excited because I was like, wait, I have felt this way my entire life. Now you're telling me this isn't woo-woo?
Right.
Now you're telling me that there's scientific proof of what I have felt my entire life? Game changer.
Right. But I think what I'm hearing, what I'm hearing though, is that the story in the store, and hearing Dylan, basically tell you, but you can be told, like I just posted, ask and you shall receive. A lot of times we ask, but we don't trust and we don't believe. So your soul was ready, because many of us are searching and we also putting a time on it. So if it doesn't look like what we asked for, then we dismiss it. And that's what's happening, of why you dismiss the very thing you asked for. You miss the opportunities, right? But you were ready. I remember, parallel to you, I remember sitting, and I say this all the time, in my house watching $1 million listings, and literally they asked, can I buy a house for $18 million of Bitcoin? But the very same day I prayed and I said, universe, I need you to open a pathway for a new passive income, something that's going to be life-changing. And I walked out my door and I bumped into a good friend, James, and he put me on a conference call with these IT geeks about Ethereum, XRP, and Bitcoin. And either you're going to take the message and move with it, or you're going to be like, oh, I should have, could have, would have. I felt it, I knew it, but I didn't, because someone, like you just said earlier, was in your ear about your beliefs, what you knew, and was like, this is cray cray. Why are you doing it?
Right.
You set and you honored the truth. And this is why you are open to the change in your life on the quantum level, to be honest.
Right. I think, and thank you. And I think, you can get sick of being sick and tired. Facts.
Girl.
Mhm.
So sometimes you just find yourself in a situation where you're like, my spirit was screaming on the inside of me for a myriad of reasons, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think you have to listen to spirit. Again, I mean, there are many people that are walking around and they're dead because they refuse to change. The
Mhm.
zombie thing is real. It's just not the way Hollywood portrays it,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
the desire, you must connect to your desire, because when you connect to what you're desiring, that is your spirit, the higher being, whatever you believe in, that is
Mhm.
not pulling you, but actually cradling you to where you are supposed to go.
Mhm.
I truly believe that whatever we desire, it is a prayer. We're supposed to have it,
Yeah.
right? And I think that it's the excavation of what it is that we don't want. It
Mhm.
was like Michelangelo said when they asked him, how did you carve out David from this piece of marble? He said, David was already in there. All I had to do was cut away.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right.
I remember
And
that.
so how do you bring this truth to your clients as a coach, right?
I do exactly the same thing. I do exactly the same. I mean, what's interesting for me, and it's a constant expansion. First of all, I don't believe people move forward. I think that we're always expanding, right?
Mm.
And also when you understand that there's an expansion and that you are energy, you are connecting to other beings, to other situations, to other currencies, right?
Mm.
And currencies meaning finances, and also like the flow of energy, right? And so when I speak to my clients, what I often find is that it's the voices that have been programmed in their one,
Mm.
Mhm.
right? And the things that they are paying attention to that are not serving them.
Mhm.
For
Mm.
example, I'll bring it creatively, and then I want to talk about the financial aspect as well. So creatively, I have a beautiful client who's an extraordinary actor, and they had life circumstances, and that took them away from being on stage, being in front of the camera. And they told me, you know what, I'm supposed to put in my 10,000 hours of acting, and I've never done that. Meanwhile, this person has had a full life, right?
Mm.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I had to bring it back to the fact, you have been living all of these years. You have this experience.
Remembering. Yeah.
Mhm.
Had these amazing experiences, so that when you're sitting down and you open this script and you are now diving into the character and you're doing a character bio, you can pour all of that energy, all of that wisdom, all of that life into the character,
Mhm.
right?
Mm.
And that's truth. That's what acting is,
Mhm.
right? Acting is being. And people forget that, right? So we get into our head, and we think we have to do all of these things to be an actor. Yes, you have to have training.
Mhm.
And some people don't, and they just do it instinctively, and that's because maybe they were an actor in a former life, I believe. But I feel like once you are able to bring your life, right,
Mhm.
into your acting, and you stop the voices in your head that are telling you this is what it's supposed to look like, then
Mhm.
you tap into the real you,
That part.
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Mm.
And the second thing is finances, what money is supposed to look like. Like we've been taught that we have to put, money in our 401k. We've been taught that we have to have an interest bearing account. We've been taught all of these things. We've been taught that we need to work hard for our money,
Mm. Mm.
right? And those are not facts,
Mhm.
right? Those are not those are facts, rather. Those are actually man-made facts.
Mhm.
And dare
Mm.
I say
Mhm.
Caucasian made facts, right? They're not our facts. And when I say Caucasian, let me just be clear. I'm talking about capitalism. I'm talking about the colonizer mentality, right?
Mm.
And I think that what we have to understand is just like everything else is evolving and expanding, finances are evolving and expanding,
Mhm.
just like they've always been, right? So now, again, we have to break out of the boxes that we have been put in, and we have free choice, so we have put ourselves in these boxes, right?
Mhm.
So we can't
Mhm.
blame other people. We have done it ourselves.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And understand that there's a new way of moving,
Yeah.
there's a new way of shifting, there's
Shifting.
a new way of earning money, right? In a way that other people have been doing it for years and years, that are now being offered to us,
Mhm.
people of color, right?
Mhm.
That we didn't
Just the
know about
average individual. For the average individual,
for
being
the
able
average
to being
individual.
able to leverage money in the same manner of which the banks have done it for years. That's the power of decentralized finance. Yeah,
Right.
I think that's what you're touching on.
100%. And I
Hmm.
think, there are different types of currencies as well,
Hmm.
right? So finances are definitely one type of currency.
Hmm.
Kindness is another type of currency. Gratitude is another type of currency. Love is another type of currency. And all of the currencies that I mentioned after finances begets finances.
100%. Yeah.
Amen.
Simple, intuitive assets.
100%. I love that.
Me too. I'm gonna seal that.
Yes. Right.
Amen.
And
Trademark that.
yes, intuitive assets is the generosity, like you said, the kindness, the love, the compassion,
Mhm.
Right.
the support.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And what I tell my clients too is create a nation, create a community, right? Seek those out who are seeking you, because the truth of the matter is, you're not the only one that desires those things. And when you put
Mm-hmm.
yourself together in a mastermind,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you form a community, you form a mastermind, you form a nation of people that are doing exactly what you desire to do,
In
or
alignment. Mm-hmm.
it's maybe not exactly the profession, but they are in alignment and it's parallel, then you can help each other bring each other up.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm.
That's like what we do.
Mhm.
Yes. So before we this has been a breath of fresh air,
Mhm.
of truth, of evolution and expansion, because it's about the mindset, it's about the heart and feeling. And before we, end this segment today, I want you to tell us how you got the name of your company, and also what is the three top things that are echoing in your life for you and what you want to echo to the world.
Mm. Well, the I Am Collective Productions came to me during meditation,
Mm.
because I wanted an umbrella company that I could create not only productions, but create other things like my coaching, like Be the Whole You coaching,
Mm. Be
and
the whole wait. I'm sorry. Be the whole you coaching.
Be the Whole You coaching.
Be the whole you coaching. Now you got to tap into that a little bit, right?
Well, and that's, we've been sort of talking about that, and what came to me is this. People worry about the world too much. If
Mm.
they would just tap into themselves, as we were talking about, they have everything that they possess
Mm.
and that they desire, right? They
Mhm.
have they possess everything that they desire. And it's a matter of just tapping into who you are and forgetting those voices in our heads that are telling us that we can't,
Mhm.
right? So I have been fortunate enough to coach with amazing people who have taught me techniques. And some of them are my own techniques
True.
because, again, I'm Haitian. My grandfather was a shaman. And
Ooh.
yeah. And so I've been recently tapping deeply and back into that, what that whole situation means for me,
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
also bringing my own creativity to it. So
Mhm.
my approach to life coaching is a bit unorthodox, if you will, but
Mhm.
I don't put myself in a box. I'm talking about
Mm.
results, and my clients are getting them. So I'm fine with it. And I walk my talk myself. I challenge myself every single day to do things that are super uncomfortable, like coming on here with
Last minute,
Echo
we thank
with
you.
10 minutes notice.
Yes, yes, yes. And what is the thing that you want to echo to for the world to hear?
We live in 11 dimensions,
Mm.
and the you that you feel like you desire to be is absolutely you living in that other dimension, calling you to that life. Therefore, get still and feel it, feel your way to it. And if you are unable to do that, find a community, come to me, be the whole you coaching. You can find me on Instagram at the Alexandra Foucard, or be the whole coaching, be the whole you coaching, and live your best life. Live your best life. In the face of adversity, laugh. Because laughter makes you lighter and it connects you to your source.
Ashe.
Amen.
Mm.
Amen.
Well,
Well,
listen, we being silent so you guys can take that in.
I know. I was just like, I was taking it and I was just like, I talk to you fairly regularly, and I hear about all the wonderful things you're doing, and it's like I don't think I ever sat and heard you explain the be the whole you coaching in that way.
Yes.
So I was really just enthralled in all of that. Yeah. So I was just like, heck, I might need to get some coaching, girl.
Girl,
Okay.
listen. You know how we do.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
You know, I'm just a call away.
I know, right?
Listen, literally, right? Yeah, that whew,
Mhm,
I'm getting emotional.
mhm,
That took that touched me.
mhm.
And
Um,
also, I just want to say, I send my clients to you, Rashona, for soul financial healing,
thank
right?
you. Yeah.
And there's a beautiful woman that we met yesterday who is a specialist on plant medicine,
Oh
Mhm,
yes.
right?
mhm,
So I'm going to be
Yes.
sending my clients to her.
mhm. Yeah.
And that is what I mean by building community, right? Building a nation. We have everything we need. We have it all, everything we need.
Mhm.
Just ask. And as you said, Roshana and Kimberly, just be open.
Yeah, that's true. It's really important. Just the whole asking and being open, but also telling people, just random people,
Mhm.
let people know what you do.
Yes.
Let people know what you're
Oh my
into.
God. I've been
Exactly.
doing that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you never know who's out there interested in the same thing or
Mhm.
looking for some not guidance, but looking for a community who's into the same thing. You never know. You're not going to know if you don't open your mouth. Just let people know.
Listen, the power
Ashe.
of, I've been
Mhm.
using my asking muscles, and I got to be silly. I'm a number 3. I went to order some of our favorite fruit and munchies, and I said to the counter guy, I said, "Can I get a fry?" And he gave it to me. I said, "I just wanted to test your service out." And again, it could be that little,
We do go there a lot.
right?
Okay.
It could be that little of asking, or literally asking, "Hey, community, my son just graduated. Can you provide him some monetary celebration? Here's his Cash App." That's heavy for me.
Mhm.
I'm a single mom. I don't usually ask,
Mhm.
but I know that it's community.
Right.
So I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if your community isn't serving you, right, then maybe always ask the right questions to get what you desire, right? Ask
Mm.
empowering questions. Don't ask, why is this happening to me? Why
Nope.
am I here right
Yes.
now? Why
Delete,
did
delete, delete, delete,
okay,
delete, delete.
delete,
Mhm.
right? Ask, how can I be guided to the right people for me? Right?
Mm.
What blessing is here right now for me?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
right?
how can I serve the people around me? So, because it
Yes.
goes both ways.
Yes.
It goes
Yes.
both ways.
Ashe,
Yes.
Mhm.
ashe.
Ashe.
And
Yes.
it, you know, the more you give, and those
Mhm.
are the truths. The
Mhm.
more you give, the more you
A
receive,
It's true.
100%. This
right?
is powerful. So this
Mhm.
leads me to say before we echo out of here is what are the questions that you're asking? I literally just posted on Instagram, ask the universe, you shall receive. It's a vibe, right?
Mhm.
And so through my soul graduation, I've been led by Jay Nicole's manifestation coaching to ask this question.
Mm,
Universe, how do I create this space for my soul graduation? That is what's echoing in my life right now. What
that.
question is echoing in your life right now that you're asking universe?
Hmm.
What's your question?
I hadn't thought about it.
I know, girl, we on
God knows she's
live.
really putting me on the spot here. What's my question? You know, I will say that I'm going through some changes, maybe revisiting some career stuff, and so I feel like I'm actually going to be traveling a bit. So I feel like the coming months are going to be a time for me to really sit in silence with myself and
Mm.
figure out my next chapter. So so questions relating to my next chapter,
Yes.
and also because I'm, planning to leave
Yes.
this great city of ours.
Yes.
So sometime within the next year. So they're all questions surrounding that because there's a lot of uncomfortableness with change.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So and there's fear in the unknowing. Even if I know in here in my heart, I know that this is the time to do that. I'd be lying if I didn't say that I still have some fear surrounding that.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
so all my questions really surround this new chapter that I am creating for myself and for my future. Yeah.
And we have two brains, right? We have the brain in our head that keeps us safe, and then we have the brain in our hearts that are connected to spirit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
before we chime out, what is your question?
My question, what's next and how can it be better than it already is?
How can it be better than I could have ever imagined? Because that's one thing I've heard time and time again is, God, whoever you're praying to or not praying to, it's like they have more in plan for you than you could have ever imagined for yourself. So believe that, and and put your hands up, remain open to the blessings that are coming your way, and believe that the blessings are coming your way. Because let me tell you, people, there have been times where money wasn't flowing, okay, but some way I always remain positive, I always remain open, and let me tell you, it always comes. It always comes in time, but you have to be open to receiving it, right?
100%.
Right?
100%.
Yeah. So, that people say the energy that you put out is what you get in.
Yes.
And so, believe that because it's really true. Anyway, we got a woo-woo show today, right?
Okay.
And
your
I loved
woo,
it.
woo, woo.
Exactly.
And your woo, woo, woo.
What about you, Rashona? What are you asking? What are you asking?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I just told you. I didn't.
No, Rashona.
Because I don't want to say exactly because there's so many things.
Rashona.
I did. I was the first one who shared it that through my manifestation coaching with Jay Nicole, because of my soul graduation on Monday, I was led that she said to me, you need to ask spirit, how do I create the space for my soul graduation? I've been doing it for the last 4 days and things are revealing itself. So I'm sitting with that.
Hold on. Your soul graduation kind of aligns with your son's recent graduation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
I had the soul graduation on Monday and he graduated on Tuesday. So when you talk
Mhm.
about things are in alignment, if you don't pay attention,
So
I'm excited, guys.
Excitement reigns. Hey, so join us next week, Sunday, for Echo, as we echo the sounds and voices of women in technology, blockchain, heck, spiritual ascension. All of it, all of it. We just want to hear. We're here for the ladies, and if the men chime in, we're here for you too. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Flags in the air, hands up high, sweat dripping as we touch the sky. The music hit you can't deny. Tonight we live, tomorrow we shine. Yeah, they still